me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go.
Hello, folks. Richard Moore, USAGSA. And I've got another installment of our criminals that are attorneys, lawyers. And this is always mind-boggling at how seemingly many people have missed the mark on this deep state corruption, the drip and the run of this venereal disease of the deep state that runs through every community in this country. And of course, it didn't happen overnight. And overnight, it's not going to be solved. But I can tell you that I am confident that over the next 3.5 years, with the new administration, that things will in fact change. And if you'll notice that some of the individuals that were pro, let's get this thing changed, or obviously didn't realize that they were part of this change. And we're talking about corruption at its core. And these attorneys play a pivotal role in bridging the gap from a victim to the justice system. This is what ensures that victims of crimes, people that need legal assistance, whatever the case may be, that they have access to the justice system. But with community-oriented policing, this drip in every single community, with a whitewash and window dressing as a safer community, or actually a clutch of rogue, vigilante, tyrannical, heathen pathetics targeting and destroying the lives of millions of Americans in broad daylight. This program is constructed to make the victim feel as if, to isolate the victim, but to make the victim appear as if they're suffering some type of a delusion. All you have to do is go to the Department of Justice website and look at the COPS program and look at the things that and the derivatives of that. These two attorneys I'm going to speak on today, one in Tupelo, Mississippi, the other in Lowndes County, Mississippi, is a textbook example of how a criminal practicing law ensures the destruction of an innocent American. And folks, it's not pretty. Before I jump into it, if you appreciate our content and you want to take a stand with USAGSA as we continue to expose this corruption nationwide and to tell the stories of the victims where their story will be told, many fear that they'll die without the world knowing or their immediate family knowing what really happened, because this program is designed to absolutely silence the target. It's a sad day in America where American citizens are targets, and they're targeted by other non-patriot American citizens. So if you enjoy our content and you want to take a stand with us, I encourage you to become a patron on Patreon. In the description of this video is our link tree. Those links will take you to Patreon, as well as our Substack, where I've written extensively about these people, the programs, their tactics, etc. And I'll continue to do that and continue to give the stories and voice to the voiceless. We're 100% supported by our listeners, viewers, and followers. We're not endowed with taxpayer funds and federal grant money, where these people commit felonies, with these illegal entries of people that they're targeting. run these ridiculous spook programs to try to destroy other Americans. And they're scratching their head and they can't understand the calamities that are falling around them. And I'm laying that out and I'm peeling that layer back where you can see why these things are happening. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And of course, share relentlessly. And be forewarned. This is a disclaimer that's put on all of our material that you have very, very pathetic trolls that are constantly trolling, and mainly Cindy, the Ooha, and Amory, Mississippi. So if she pops up on your radar, then you know what time it is. So a couple of years ago, Rebecca Baumgartner, a YouTuber in Lowndes County, Mississippi, was indicted and arrested on trumped up charges. And what I mean by trumped up, I mean something completely manufactured by law enforcement and the cops program as a whole. They gather intelligence and all the surveillance. They do all these things that none of them will stand in a court of law because it's obtained illegally. And then they mirror everything that they've obtained illegally, and they mirror that and try to build a case based upon that does not include the illegal or ill-gotten surveillance and data, etc. Now, that is a well-known process within the judicial system. So when somebody, a cop is saying they did this, well, can you prove it? And they're not here. They did this. Everybody knows what you're saying. They have circumvented the Constitution, due process. No longer does innocent till proven guilty stand. Oh, that's what it says on the books. But on the contrary, it's guilty until proven innocent. And that never happens. They have made that completely impossible. Rebecca Baumgartner was targeted. As a result of that, like myself, she took to the airways. And they accelerated her exit and her method of destruction. And the end game, that these pathetics in your community, people that they have told you or they've been battered with smear tactics and rumor mills and false accusations and everything under the sun. They run this disinformation campaign to absolutely obliterate the target. Of course, this is American, the American way, isn't it? Nothing could be further from the truth. It's a demonic way and got anything to do with the American way. I have a playlist, the Rebecca Baumgartner, and I encourage you to go to that playlist and learn what you want to learn about her case. And I've spent a considerable amount of time reading and going through the discovery and the things that took place in this deal. And I'm not going to go through all that. But it's real clear that it wasn't just one or two mistakes. They're not mistakes. There's one of two. There's dozens and dozens of things that are very obvious that they were critical to making sure she was convicted in what would appear a just and true and fair judicial process of a jury of her peers, etc. But then when you learn that most of the jury pool is either connected to the prosecutor or the judge, that's concerning. They appoint Rebecca an attorney, Amanda Meadows, and that court-appointed attorney received between $200 to maybe $500 or $600. That's the going rate, and they get $1,000 for a capital case. How would you like to know? In the state of Mississippi, that you were accused of murder and you were innocent, and they got you an attorney, and all he's going to pay them is $1,000. Folks, the deck is stacked against you. And so Rebecca knows that she's completely innocent. The case was all built on a snitch. And this whole program is built off of snitches and rats, haters, deplorables, deadbeats, and women beaters, and of course, closet queer perverts. That is the makeup of and the structure of this program and the people behind it. And it could be the mayor, the chief of police, of course, law enforcement run this deal. That's the bottom line. So, one snitch sells dope to another snitch, both of them working for the snitch sting unit in Lowndes County. And the testimony is this: the snitch that sold the dope to the other snitch said that she sold the dope because Rebecca Baumgartner told her to sell the dope. Based on that premise, ladies and gentlemen, nothing else, they convicted her, and she got 24 mandatory years in prison. And I believe that they were proud of themselves. Scott Cologne, Crooked Eddie Hawkins, the sheriff. But here comes a senior citizen, elderly gentleman, 70-something, maybe 80 years old, Sherman Vaughn. That was Rebecca's landlord. And they had him ready to testify on her behalf, and also to testify and give factual information about these witnesses. That wasn't allowed to happen. But before this trial, Sherman Vaughn said, I want to do something to help Rebecca because I know that she didn't do what they're saying she did. How many times have we heard that? And the enemy always says, oh, you're in denial. You didn't know everything. It's always this backroom whispering BS. Sherman Vaughn contacts an attorney in Tupelo, Mississippi by the name of Jim Wade. Jim Wade is considered a top-tier attorney. One of the elites, is the way they like to believe it. And puts him right in there with the Farish brothers in Hickory Flat, I believe. And charges exuberant fees. And people base this eliteness on how much they charge. Attorneys like him typically get between $300 to $500 an hour. In 2000 or 1999, Johnny Cochran charged $500 an hour. None of them rival the gold standard in elite attorneys like Dan K. Webb in Chicago, who fetches a minimum of $1,500 an hour. But these elite attorneys, especially in the state of Mississippi, do not take cases pro bono. That means they will not represent somebody for nothing. They don't do it. The Bar Association suggests that they should do a certain amount of pro bono work and try to demonstrate their propensity to want to serve society and justice. That's all hogwash. They don't do it. Jim Wade sure doesn't do it. But he took this case, surprisingly, for someone that he didn't know, on what was seemingly is a open shut case. What any gray area there? Why do attorneys like him get involved in cases like that? Only two reasons. If it has sweeping and large legal implications. In other words, if there's something about this case that could be a precedent-setting case, or it affects maybe a class of people, in other words, they're going to get some mileage out of it. get their name in the marquee, or they take them for personal self-interest. In Jim Wade's case, I'm completely convinced he did both. Now, what were the broad and sweeping legal implications of this? Let me tell you. You see, for this program that we talk about, for it to exist and thrive, the perpetrators and these businesses have to have the insurance that they're not going to be beat up in the courtroom, because it's obviously illegal and it's a conflict with the Constitution of the United States of America, which these clowns swore an oath to protect and uphold. But they're liars. They're oath breakers. In plain sight. What they're saying and what they're doing, my friend, are two different things. You can believe that. Jim Wade took the case because he is a team player. Team player, meaning his allegiance is to the court. And that's part of the oath that they take to pass the bar, to be able to practice law. And that bar oath that they take ain't got anything to do with the Constitution, supporting it, or anything else. It's just a mumbo jumbo about being fair and don't lie and all this other kind of stuff. And again, we'll get Bill Clinton, get his take on what a lie is. I've got a clip I'm putting in here that gives you the idea of the kind of oath and the kind of mentality that people like Jim Wade have, and the kind of mentality that these court-appointed attorneys have. You'll see two different.
And I'm going to help people because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Me mechanic not speak English, but he know what me mean when me say car no go, and we best friends. So me think, why waste time, say lot word when few word do trick.
For people on this video clip, that should paint a nice picture for you. So, we'll see in the clip. I think everybody's got the message. The legal implications and the things that Jim Wade saw in this is that this program is a pay to play. If you're a part of this holistic approach to policing, everybody doing their part, that you get a piece of the cake, piece of the pie. Not only that, now a precedent has been set. Now snitches can get on the witness stand and say that the victim told them to do it, and the jury can consider that as a fact. That's established case law in Mississippi versus Baumgartner, thanks to Jim Wade. Now that her attorney, two crucial witnesses that were scheduled to testify in Rebecca's trial were both confronted by Sheriff's Deputy Jeff Edmondson and given an ultimatum. If they thought they was going to testify, one of them was pulled over on her way to the courthouse. Now, when these crucial witnesses that were very crucial to this case did not show, did Jim Wade say, hold the phone? I need a continuance. I got to find it. I'm going to personally see what the deal is with our witnesses that have disappeared. He didn't do that. Of course he didn't. On its surface, they wanted the appearance that everything, that due diligence was performed, everybody did their job, and justice served, did what justice was supposed to do with a jury of her peers. It was a stacked deck. Who has to be involved for this to happen? Who has to be okay with this? In this case, the judge, prosecutor Scott Cologne, the sheriff, Crooked Eddie Hawkins, and his minions, and of course, the defense team for Rebecca, Amanda Meadows, and Jim Wade. During the trial, as Rebecca Baumgartner is making phone calls out in the jail, those calls are recorded. And Rebecca is talking to somebody about the judge and called the judge everything but a child of God. What has that got to do with this case? Nothing. But we want to prejudice the judge, don't we? If the judge is tossed about these shenanigans, maybe we can get her on over and make sure we got her in our corner, the deep state corner. Crooked Eddie gets the recording and takes it to Scott Cologne. And Scott Cologne, along with Jim Wade, they all go into the judge's chambers. At this point, the judge just said, hold it. Has this got anything to do with this case? Well, no, but it's got something to do with you. Y'all need to get out of here before all of you are charged with contempt. That's what she's supposed to have done. What'd she do? She listened to the tape. Now, she then, to make matters worse, because she knows this is a screwed up deal, let me try to make sure that I mark Furman this deal and we don't have any questions. So she publicly on the stand says, and I didn't expect this call.
This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Telling.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm live recording, talking about your case. So now you're on here. You're on. So I didn't know Rebecca's going to call. So she's at Delta State Correctional Facility. And of course, we're fighting this. This is how God works, folks. Anyway, so the judge comes publicly and says that and tells the courtroom that she heard a tape about Rebecca calling her everything but a child of God, but it did not change her opinion of her. What exactly, Rebecca, did the judge say about this tape? And what was said on the tape?
Okay, what was said on the tape was I called her.
Go ahead and say everything you called. Don't.
Okay, I called her a dumb bitch, and I called the DA Ben Rush a stupid motherfucker.
Okay.
On a jail call to my friend. And I'm not going to say her name, but I was on the jail phone. I was in jail and talking to somebody on the outside on the phone, and the sheriff ran that recording up there to the judge the next day and played it in her chamber so she could hear me denigrating the judge.
Which had nothing to do with the case. This case was about you with selling controlled substance, etc. So the judge, and what I'm saying, should have not allowed. Now, her attorney, and Rebecca is not involved in my thought process or anything else as it refers to what her attorneys did to her. That's not something that she has, she and I have sat here and discussed about barbecuing their asses. This is something I'm doing because that's what I do. Now, so I just want to let y'all know that. That there's not anybody pumping me up on this stuff. I've read the stuff. I've heard it. Y'all just heard it. And so you called the judge what again?
I called her a dumb bitch because that's what she is.
Okay. All right. And you called Ben Rush. He's the assistant district attorney.
Yeah, he was a stupid motherfucker.
Okay. All right. So now they hate free speech, folks. They absolutely hate it. I support the Constitution. I swore an oath up, I'll protect it. But what about the First Amendment? Well, that's a slippery slope. Yeah, if it's coming out of the mouth of somebody we hate, then by God, we're going to stop it. Now, and so that's the deal. And so Rebecca, as attorney, didn't do due diligence on that deal. He should have asked for a mistrial. He may have, did he?
Actually, they did ask for a mistrial, and that's when Easterling said, I
Judge
didn't hear
Easterling
anything on that tape that would make me biased.
Yeah, she didn't hear anything on the tape make her biased. We already know that she was biased, and we already know that now that with two attorneys going along with this, Now, also, I believe it was the last day of the trial, the prosecution and the defense attorneys all went to lunch together. Am I right or wrong about that?
That was on the second day.
Second day, but they went to lunch together.
Hold on. Yeah, Amanda didn't go.
All right,
I don't know if that was just for show.
That was for show.
Jim Wade went to eat with the two district attorneys.
So Jim Wade went with the two district attorneys, Scott Clone and Ben Rush. Now, so Amanda Meadows stays back to make it look like it was not an official meeting. So she's playing her part in this deal. So now, folks, here's the deal. Outside looking in, why is she complaining? She had a jury of her peers. I've already told you that they either connected to the prosecution or the judge. She had one of the best lawyers in the state. The facts were the facts and all that. And nothing be further. It was all lies. It was all lies. And he didn't make any effort publicly to stop the train wreck because we got to find these witnesses that have now said they were threatened if they did testify by Jeff Edmondson. So, all these things being said, folks, Rebecca shouldn't still be sitting in prison. So now, with this community orgasmic policing nationwide, that got armies of frontline crash dummy rat snitches that will do anything for a Dollar Tree gift card, will do anything and say they commit perjury. They still out of the evidence room. Right. We'll talk about on another show. They've got the king, absolutely obstructor of justice, Kevin Forrester, running the evidence room at Lowndes County. But this is about Jim Wade and Amanda Meadows. They conspired. They colluded with the deal. So now any law enforcement officer that's got somebody they don't like, they can get the rat to take the stand and say, John told me to jump off the bridge, and that's why I jumped off the bridge. And they're going to charge John with attempted murder. Okay, now, how are they going to do that? They already have a precedence now, and that's why Jim Wade is involved in this, because this has national and sweeping, and Home Office loves it, implications, because now Mississippi versus Baumgartner shows that's accepted.
They can use that to go after anybody with lawfare that they don't like. They can use my case to now put a drug dealer or a murderer on the stand and point the finger at somebody else and say they made me do it.
Folks, this is deep state corruption. This is deep state corruption. It's a gonorrhea drip of deep state corruption, how our judicial system is weaponized against people they do not like. Now, we know someone that has just got elected as president that was convicted of 4 or 5 felonies. We've got a convicted felon running this deal now that's pissed off. You've got another convicted felon talking to you about this and one on the phone. Because
but that's only until my case gets overturned.
Absolutely. So, folks, when you think about people and you look, these are pretty good old boys, and they do a good job, and he's expensive and whatever. They're not who you think they are. And if you're considering an attorney, I've just named 2 that, by God, you better run from. If you want a picture or poster child of abject corruption, and those that are willing to absolutely abandon their oath, that are tyrannical traitors of this country, I have highlighted that today. And I'm going to continue to do that. So I encourage you, you got a story that you want to tell about how a lawyer screwed you up, or played you, drugged you, overcharged you, took your money and didn't do nothing. This is gone far enough, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to keep exposing them. And so I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. You hang on, Rebecca. Until next time, God bless you.
Thank y'all.